Okay, let's get into this. Our mission today is a deep dive into, well, a pretty major scientific report. It's about this ancient reptile discovery that's really forcing people to rethink snake origins.
Yeah, it's a big one. We're digging into the details of a creature that's like 167 million years old.
Right, 167 million years. And this isn't just, another dusty fossil. This thing is actively messing with our understanding of evolution.
Exactly. It's blurring the lines. You look at it and it's sort of, is it a lizard? Is it a snake? It's complicated. And found on Scotland's Isle of Skye, which is amazing preservation.
So the subject specifically is Breugnathair elgolensis, found right there on Skye. And the name itself kind of gives the game away, doesn't it?
It really does. Breugnathair elgolensis. It's Gaelic.
Yeah.
It means basically false snake of Elgol.
False swink.
Yeah. I mean, the researchers named it that because it's such a contradiction. It didn't fit neatly.
And that's the puzzle for you listening right now. This is what we're trying to unpack. How can one animal have these really advanced snake-like jaws, like python teeth almost,
Yeah. Hook-like recurved teeth. Really specialized for predation.
but at the same time have a totally lizard-like body?
Yeah.
Short, kind of stocky with 4 complete legs.
Fully formed limbs, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a genuine evolutionary mix and match. It challenges, well, everything we thought we knew about how squamates, lizards, and snakes got started.
And that time period, the Middle Jurassic, 167 million years ago, that's key too, right?
Oh, absolutely crucial. Finding something this specialized, this weird, that far back,
Yeah.
it changes the whole timeline for squamate evolution. Fossils from that period are incredibly rare to begin with.
But let's picture the discovery, Isle of Skye, 2016. And back then in the Jurassic, Skye wasn't, windswept and dramatic like today. It was subtropical.
Lush, yeah. A totally different world. And finding any squamate fossil there is a big deal, let alone something this complete and this, well, confusing.
Okay, so let's talk classification. Lizards and snakes, they belong to this big group called squamates. Where does this Breugnathair fit in?
Well, they've placed it in a newly defined group of extinct predators called Parvoraptoridae.
Parvoraptoridae.
Okay.
Yeah.
And putting it there is important because this fossil is one of the oldest, most complete fossil lizards and therefore squamates ever found. It's like opening a tiny window onto a really murky part of the evolutionary past.
Let's dig into that mosaic anatomy you mentioned. The mix and match. So the head, snake-like.
Definitely the jaws and teeth. They're built for grabbing slippery prey. The report specifically compares them to modern python teeth. That level of specialization is pretty striking.
Wow. But then the rest of it.
Lizard. Short body, strong legs. It wasn't slithering. This thing could run, walk. Not like the typical image of an early snake ancestor losing its limbs.
Yeah, it's like it has the most advanced tools in its mouth, but the most sort of standard lizard chassis everywhere else.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. And this discovery actually cleared up some old mysteries, didn't it? About this whole Parvoraptoridae group.
Right, because before Breugnathair, what did we know about them? Just bits and pieces.
Exactly. Fragmentary stuff. Researchers were finding these tiny snake-like jawbones, but they were finding them right next to other bones that looked much more primitive, maybe like early gecko limbs or skull bits.
And that combination just seemed impossible, like finding a Formula One engine next to a horse-drawn cartwheel.
Pretty much. The thinking was these have to be two different animals that just happen to fossilize together. A snake relative died next to a primitive lizard. They couldn't imagine one creature having both those features.
Ah, makes sense. They dismissed it as like a fossil coincidence.
Precisely. But then Breugnathair comes along, relatively complete.
And proves them wrong.
Absolutely. It shows definitively that, yes, one animal could have both those snake-like jaws and those more gecko-like skeletal bits all the way back 167 million years ago. It connects the dots.
It really is like finding the picture on the jigsaw box lid after years of just having a few random pieces. I think Susan Evans, one of the co-leads, used that exact analogy.
She did, yeah. Referencing her own earlier work on these Parvoraptorids from like 30 years ago. But finding that proof wasn't easy, right? The research took ages.
Yeah, discovered in 2016, but the analysis.
Right.
A whole multinational team, AMNH, UCL, Natural Museum Scotland, others. Nearly 10 years.
Yeah, that decade was really necessary. The fossil itself was stuck in this extremely hard rock. Getting it out, preparing it, that took time. But the real challenge was seeing inside it.
Especially the skull and jaw, right? That's where the key features are.
Exactly. To understand how it hunted, how those jaws worked, they needed to see the internal structure. But you can't just break it open.
So standard CT scans like you get at a hospital wouldn't cut it?
Not for this level of detail. The rock matrix is too dense, the bones too delicate and similar in density, you wouldn't get a clear picture. That's why they took it to the European Synchrotron Radiation Facility, ESRF, in Grenoble, France.
The synchrotron, what makes that different?
Think of it like a superpowered X-ray. It uses incredibly intense, focused beams of X-rays. This lets them generate these ultra-high-resolution 3D images down to the micron level. Basically, they could digitally separate the bone from the rock and reconstruct the skull in minute detail without ever touching the delicate internal parts.
Wow, that's some serious tech. And what did that tech reveal? A pretty impressive creature.
Oh, yeah. Breugnathair was about 16 inches long, head to tail, almost half a meter.
Which, for a lizard in the middle, Jurassic on Skye, that's pretty big, isn't it?
Definitely one of the larger lizards in that ecosystem,
Yeah.
making it a significant predator.
And those python-like jaws and teeth tell us what it was likely hunting.
Small stuff, probably.
Hmm.
Given the teeth are for gripping, not slicing. So things like smaller lizards, maybe some of the very early mammals running around back then, other small vertebrates, maybe even young dinosaurs if we could catch them.
Okay, so here's the crunch, the big evolutionary question. Lead author Roger Benson poses it directly. We have this mosaic, snake head, lizard body. What does it actually mean for how snakes evolved?
Right. This is where it gets really fascinating and kind of tricky. The researchers basically lay out three main possibilities.
Okay, possibility one.
Possibility one. This thing, Breugnathair, or something very much like it, is actually close to the ancestor of modern snakes.
Whoa.
Yeah. Which would mean snake ancestors might have had these super specialized predator jaws before they lost their limbs. Completely flips the script on the idea they were tiny burrowers or sea creatures first.
That changes a lot. But wait, there's a second idea. Maybe it's not an ancestor at all.
Exactly. Possibility two is that this is just convergent evolution, an evolutionary dead end.
A red herring.
Kind of. It suggests that these snake-like features, the jaws, the teeth, evolved completely independently in this parvoraptorid group. Maybe it's just a really good way to hunt on Jurassic Skye. So in this view, Breugnathair is amazing, but it's not directly related to the snakes we have today. It's a false start.
Okay, ancestor at full start. What's the third option? You mentioned something about stem squamates. Sounds technical.
It's a bit technical, yeah. A stem squamate. Think of the big evolutionary tree of reptiles. There's a main trunk, and then branches split off. Lizards and snakes together are in a major branch called squamata. A stem squamate is something on the trunk before that final split that defined all modern lizards and all modern snakes.
So like an early cousin to both, but not quite either.
Sort of. It's on the lineage leading towards squamates, but diverged before the common ancestor of all living lizards and snakes. So possibility three is that Breugnathair is one of these early stem squamates.
Okay.
And it independently evolved these advanced snake-like jaws and teeth, even though its overall lineage is more primitive. So the features are specialized, but the group itself is ancient.
Ancestor, convergent evolution, or specialized stem group. That's quite a range of options. Did they actually pick one?
Well, that's the thing. They concluded it's still inconclusive.
Really, after all that?
Yeah. The mix of features is just so unusual. And the big problem is we just don't have enough other fossils from this time period, these early squamates, to compare it with properly. There are too many gaps in the record.
So it doesn't give us the final answer on snake origins, but you're saying it's still hugely important. Why?
Because it demonstrates the potential that was there 167 million years ago. Whether it's a direct ancestor or not, the fact remains. These highly sophisticated snake-like predatory features could evolve and evolve early while the animal still had full limbs. That's the key takeaway. It shows incredible evolutionary plasticity.
It forces scientists to widen their search image, maybe, when looking for other early snake relatives.
Exactly. They can't just assume early snake ancestors were tiny, limbless burrowers anymore. Maybe they looked more like Breugnathair. It opens up possibilities.
So summing it up for everyone listening, what's the big message here?
I think the main thing is that evolution isn't neat and tidy. It doesn't always follow a straight line from A to B, from primitive to advanced nature experiments. It tinkers. And Breugnathair is a perfect example of that, this incredible mosaic, mixing old and new features deep in the Jurassic.
It makes the hunt for snake origins even more exciting, even if this wasn't the final piece of the puzzle. It adds a whole new layer of complexity.
Absolutely. And that leads to one last thought, something for you to maybe ponder. If these really specialized snake-like feeding tools, these jaws and teeth, could appear so early, back in the Jurassic, on an animal with 4 legs, well, what other weird evolutionary experiments might be out there, still waiting to be found?
Hmm.
What other false starts or independent evolutionary paths could completely redraw the family tree for lizards and snakes? It suggests the history of life could be far stranger and way more interesting than we currently imagine.